turn off the email notification alarm. Kelly's agreeing with me on this. So right now, when you get an email message, it dings, your cursor changes, you get a little flying envelope, all these happy things happen. And unfortunately, do you guys remember in science class talking about the Pavlov's dog experiment? Does everybody remember that experiment? So, they ring the bell and they feed the dog dinner and he's really excited and starts salivating. Well, then the experiment went, they would ring the bell and the dog would get excited and start salivating, but they didn't feed him. Well, it's the same thing with our email. I mean, it pops up and we get all excited. It's got to be something better than what I'm working on. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to go look at it. It's going to be good. But it's very distracting. And remember the stat from the beginning? Do you guys remember the 40% drop in productivity for multitasking? So here's another stat around switching from what you're working on over to the email message. So the Journal of Neuroscience, it's a very exciting periodical. If you can't sleep, I recommend it. They wanted to study multitasking. Okay, scientifically, how does your brain work and is it more effective? So what they did is they looked at folks who were knowledge workers, like you guys. They asked them to be working on documents, spreadsheet, and they measured the amount of time it took them. They're working on a document, email notification comes up, person pulls it up, looks at it, and then they have to return to what they were doing. So they switched, checked email, and had to come back to what they were doing. That switching per email, it takes your brain between 3 and 5 minutes to get back on track and remember what you were doing. So if you do that all day long, switch, over the course of a week, you're going to lose 8.5 hours. That's what the study showed. Well, I would imagine most of you don't even get 8.5 hours of sleep. So if we're looking for a way to get some time back in our day, turning off the email notification alarm is pretty easy. In Outlook, it's on the Tools menu. And it's on your advanced options or your customized options, depending on what version you're on.
Conversation to have with them. They think they're being very responsive to you as the boss, but really, we know that they're interrupting their work. They're putting your work over their work, and that's not good.
You make a really good point. Is how can you, everything that we're talking about today, what can you filter and what can you take back to your teams? And that's one of them, that I don't need an instantaneous response because that's taking you away from something else you're working on. I think this avoid email in the morning. This one usually gets lots of excited folks too. So here's the theory behind this. You don't start your day with email. I know, it's like I asked you to give me your children. Well, you might want to give me your children, but that's okay. Well, here's the theory. Let me just tell you why, and you try this on. You might want to take it, you might not. That's the purpose of all these tips. So when you come in the morning, you sit down and you open your inbox and you start going. And you are just reacting to what everybody else wants from you. You look up, oh, it's 9:50. I have a 10 o'clock meeting that I need to drive to. And now you're racing to your car to go to that meeting. And all you have done is respond or react to email. So here's an alternative strategy. You come in, you maybe take the first 10, 15 minutes, and you work on something on your task list. You work on something that's going to move your organization forward. You start the day from a place of relaxed, proactive control. Feel good, I got a piece of this done, great. Then you shift gears. Then you move into your email inbox. This is a very hard habit to break. So be patient with yourself, a little grace. If you do it one day next week, great. See if you can do it for 2 days the following week. And just see what happens to your day as you do it. It's a very, very productive way to start your day. Subject line, we've talked about that. The forward, re. What is that? I don't know what it means. So be really clear on the subject line. State the recipient's next action step. I mentioned this earlier. If I'm delegating a task or if I'm sending it out to my committee that's working on an event, in the subject line or within the first line of the email, tell people what you want them to do so that I'm not scrolling all the way through looking for stuff. And then the last one, this is something we use internally, and this is an acronym, NRN. So what we do is we'll type in the subject line, a clear subject line, and then after it, type in NRN. No reply needed. So my team doesn't send me back a happy face, a thank you, great, have a good day. That's just extra emails to process.